Welcome, beautiful soul, to this episode. I'm really excited to share with you this very important journal exercise that I invite you to try today. And it's something that you can grow with over time. And actually, it's one of the first pages of my journal, my very first business journal. And it still remains one of the most important exercises that I like to do when I'm exploring my business or I'm updating things. I always return to the original page, and I've changed it and adapted it over time. But essentially, it stayed the same. So, what is this exercise? This exercise is about exploring your why. Your why for starting your health business. And let me tell you, once you start going deep into this journal exercise, you start to realize, at least I did, and a lot of the people I work with do, that when you get very clear on your why, it becomes a very deep anchor. It allows you to get very, very grounded about the things that you want to achieve, the places and the time that you're managing, and all the things in between that are related to your business. You become very clear. Essentially, it helps you become extremely clear about why you're doing what you're doing and why you love what you're doing. And as time goes on, especially with any business, there will be challenges. And if you have that strong why in place, that strong anchor, it allows you to keep going. It certainly has done for me. So, in this journal exercise that we're going to explore today, I invite you to take out your journal right now. And before I get into how you can explore this or what inspiration you can use to explore this journal exercise, I want you to write down just a few lines, initial lines. What comes up for you right now when I ask you this question? Why are you starting your business? Or why have you started your business? Take a few moments. Feel free to pause this episode right now or at any time and just make some notes, some initial notes. Bring awareness to what thoughts come up. Bring awareness to what your body's feeling. Are you feeling excited? Are you feeling drained? Are you feeling exhausted? Are you feeling inspired? I don't know. Whatever comes up for you emotionally, through your body, through your thoughts, just write down whatever comes up. There's no right or wrong answer. So take your time with this step. Pause if you need to. And if you're ready, I'd like to explain how you can go deeper. So, whatever it is that you wrote is incredibly important, okay? Because again, we're bringing awareness to what it is that we're feeling, what it is that we're experiencing, our initial thoughts, and this will evolve over time. But let me share how you can go even more deeper, how you can really anchor and ground even more with your why. Your why can be extremely empowering for others and very powerful for yourself as well. Because this is actually the story of who you are. Let me explain. Most of the time, when I ask somebody why they started something or what's their why for starting anything, especially when it comes to business, the most common things, and I've also said this in my own journal exercise, is not liking their job, maybe wanting to have more control over how they use their time, so time management, maybe the amount of money that they want to make, maybe they're thinking about this could be a way to make more money than they normally do, which is all great. Believe me, it's all great. And it is a very common reason why we start our businesses. But if you bring your personal story into it, especially when we're talking about the area that you're working in, bring your story into it. And this is actually something that you can share with your clients. Okay? So, what is your story behind the area that you're working on? Take a moment to think about that. Again, write whatever comes up in your journal. What is your story behind the actual area that you're working on? For example, if you are a health coach, what is the personal story behind why you chose to be a health coach instead of something else? Or if you're a yoga teacher, why did you choose that? What's your personal story behind that? Or if you're a nutritionist or a counselor, a therapist in private practice, whatever it may be, what is the personal story behind why you chose that specific area? And when you start to do that, you can also start to think about your personal story in terms of who you are. And this reflects who you are. This is the energy of who you are. Maybe it's something that has helped you in the past overcome certain things. That's a very common thing that I see with a lot of people I work with in the health and wellness field. Normally, they choose that specific area because it's something that helped them during a time of challenge or transition. I know, on a personal note, I know a lot of my clients from maybe 10 years ago, 10 years ago, a lot of the clients that I met who were first starting out in holistic health are now doing exactly the things that they tried at that time, including maybe energy therapies, which I was working on a lot back in the day. I was working on a lot of Reiki, energy healing. That was one of the bases of entering holistic health before entering into other fields as well. Um, and when I asked them, why did you carry on or why did you start doing it as part of your business? They said, well, it helped me overcome certain things. And I feel like I can also share this with other people, which is another powerful thing because then you can start bringing your story into your ideal clients. Why do you work with the clients that you want to work with? Why did you choose that niche? Why did you choose this kind of client? What is the personal connection? Remember, what you're doing here is when you bring your story into your why and then you also share that with other people, then you really personalize the connection with your potential clients and your clients. People will start to actually be attracted to you for your story. I'll give you some examples from the past. Maybe I've mentioned this in other episodes, but as I said, a lot of my clients who first started off in holistic health did a lot of energy medicine and energy therapies. And then they went on to become incredible Reiki masters and yoga teachers. And a lot of the times, it was because they were dealing with a lot of issues related to being an empath and highly sensitive person, which is something that I worked on a lot. I still work on a lot when it comes to yoga with empaths and highly sensitive people. And it really helped them. So they eventually went on to work in that and specifically work in that area where people were attracted to the same thing. I've met a lot of people who went through difficult times in their life and at that time maybe went to talking therapies like psychotherapy or counseling, and they found that incredibly powerful for whatever reason or whatever thing they were going through at the time, and that inspired them to get into that area as well as also to help other people in the area that they were working on. For example, one of the people I can think of very specifically, she went through bereavement counseling when she was a teenager because she lost her parents. And this led her to starting to study psychology, going into psychotherapy, and now she works with teenagers. So your personal story becomes a, a 5D version, not even a 3D, a 5D version of who you are. You start to really show the different sides of yourself by a very simple but powerful message that you can share with other people. And that is the story behind who you are and why you love to work in that area that you're working in, and also with the kind of clients that you're working with, and also how you can work with them through certain issues or help them in certain areas. So, with that being said, you can also write down right now, you can write down what's coming up for you. When I say, what is your personal story when you go much deeper? What would you say? Again, think about the challenges that maybe you went through. Maybe think about the inspiration you got when you tried the therapy that you did, or you're teaching right now, or whatever it may be. Think about the challenges and the inspirations that led you along the way. Take a moment, write it out, pause this episode if you need to. And I've made a full blog post on this, so if you're looking for more journal inspiration, feel free to look at the link in the description where I have journal prompts and inspirations related to your why. But the general message is you can explore this as a whole journal experience. What is your why? Go deep. Go into your story. Don't be afraid to share your story, because actually, especially in this day and age, everything is almost AI generated nowadays. Everyone looks like a copycat version of other people. So, actually, sharing your why as part of your story becomes a way of making you more human. And believe me, nowadays that stands out more than anything else. Anyone can go on any AI tool or website and ask them to produce a wonderfully, beautifully written profile. Anyone can do that. You can do that. I can do that. But actually putting your story in it, your life experiences in it, takes everything to a whole other level. And also, on a personal note, it's a huge reminder to yourself why you're starting something, why you're continuing to do it, and why you're passionate about something. And that will serve you during the highs and lows, when we go through business, when we go through challenges, when we go through ups and downs, when we have our big wins. Our why becomes a very strong anchor. And I have to keep saying that because I found that to be incredibly true. And it becomes part of our foundation, sharing our story. And as a bonus thing, I would say that once you start sharing your story, then you're also working on your visibility, because a lot of us, including myself, have had to work on visibility, being seen, being acknowledged, not being afraid to show up as who we are, for who we are, not what others expect us to be. And part of having a business is usually because we want to be able to have that freedom to be who we are, to get away from the square boxes that we had to fit in. And this helps us stand out. This makes things so much more personal. I want to end this journal exercise episode with my personal why. What is my personal why? And in the spirit of sharing some of the notes that I wrote down long time ago, way back in the day, I explored the topic of why I was interested in energy healing in the first place. And this was way back in the day, in 1996, yes, last century. On my 16th birthday, my first experience was coming across a book for my 16th birthday in a part of the library that I can't remember what it was called, because I don't think we even had a section on mind, body, spirit, or soul back then. But anyway, I was attracted to this book. It was by Shira Block, and it was essentially about law of attraction. And it absolutely blew my mind. It really changed everything. It's not a very thick book, but I read it in like 1.5 days. I just sat down, read it. It was about affirmations, about changing, reprogramming yourself. And this was before The Secret. This was before I came across other things, or when things weren't so mainstream back in the day. And later on, to make a long, long story short, I came across Reiki through someone who was teaching it, and she really inspired me in Reiki and how it was a potential business. I didn't even know it existed. I didn't even know you could be a holistic therapist and make money from it and create your own business and teach, etc., etc. And when I was going through my health issues in my early 20s, so around 2001, 2003, this is what actually I feel really saved me and kept me going. You know, energy healing, learning to manage my own energy, learning energy management in general, because I really needed to adapt very quickly to my new situation. And to this day, even though, yes, I do a lot of mentoring, yes, I do health coaching and yoga, for me, energy medicine has always been the foundations. And I always keep that in mind when I'm doing anything, whether it's this podcast, whether it's writing, um, whether it's teaching in other fields. I always keep that in mind. I always acknowledge that side of myself as being part of my why. So that's the short version of my why. Maybe I'll share more in other episodes so you can get to know me on a personal level. But yeah, this episode is mainly about you and making this whole thing about you. So I want to share a little bit about me. Now it's your turn to write down in your journal a little bit about yourself, explore your story, explore your why. I hope this inspired you. Feel free to check the description with the link for more inspiration if it has inspired you, and I will be back with another episode. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen. Take care.